Imagine standing in a courtroom, a room in a courthouse where trials take place, a courtroom, heart pounding, palms damp, about to reveal a truth so unsettling that it strikes at the very safety you once believed was yours. If you're listening to this podcast to sharpen, to improve your English, and to gain the confidence to talk about one of the most disturbing abuses of privacy in our society, stay tuned until the end of this episode. What you are about to hear will deepen your vocabulary. It will improve your use of sophisticated expressions, and it will equip you to discuss a shocking new form of stalking that lingers in the shadows of legality. This is an article from The Guardian I read recently, and it starts with a woman who we call Laura. The name's changed to protect her identity. She stood in a witness box, place in the courtroom where a person gives evidence, the witness box, preparing to speak to magistrates. These are judges who hear less serious legal cases, magistrates. She's going to talk to them about her ex-husband's behavior. She opened the evidence file, which is a folder containing information and documents used in a legal case, the evidence file. And she saw for the first time photos of her leaving the house and driving her car. Her stomach turned as she realized these images were not taken by a stranger on the street. They were taken by a professional, someone doing his job, someone paid to trail her, to follow her, to trail her. That's a phrasal verb. This is to follow someone secretly or persistently. Evidence is information used to prove or disprove something in a court. Laura's ex-husband had hired a private investigator. To hire is to pay for the services of someone, and a private investigator, PI, is someone who investigates information that isn't public, and he was hired to watch her without her knowing, secretly, without her knowing. Later, the court sanctioned her ex-husband. To sanction is to officially punish someone. So the court sanctioned her ex-husband with a stalking protection order. That's a legal order that tries to stop someone from stalking another person. But the investigator who took the pictures and helped with the harassment was never even questioned. No one asked him to explain anything. He was never even questioned. At the time, Laura said, or Laura as we say in Latin America, Laura said, "You just feel really violated." This happened in the UK, by the way. So violated means feeling deeply disrespected or having your rights broken. She felt like her privacy and her personal space was stolen. Obviously, she felt vulnerable, open to harm, vulnerable, because this was happening without her knowing or consenting, obviously. Laura's case is not an isolated incident. A major investigation showed that at least 30 victims in the UK over the past 3 years had been followed and harassed because stalkers pay private investigators to do the dirty work for them. This is what it means to outsource abuse, to hire someone else to do harmful actions for you, to outsource abuse. I linked to the Guardian article in the description below, by the way. Some of these victims were tracked even to places meant to be safe, including to a domestic violence refuge, a safe house for people fleeing abuse, a domestic violence refuge. The fact that these locations were discovered by investigators, this blew open how severe the problem had become. To blow something open is to reveal a secret widely. In the UK, there is no licensing system for private investigators, no official certification required to operate for private investigators. This means anyone, with or without training, can put themselves out as an investigator. To put themselves out means to advertise or present themselves as an investigator and offer their services without any qualifications, no credentials to show that they are trained, without any qualifications or any background checks. A background check is an investigation of past behavior. So no qualifications, no background checks. Go and follow this woman on behalf of a stalker. Anyway, many of these private investigators, the agencies, they offer something called matrimonial inquiry services. These are investigations into suspected cheating partners. So if you suspect your partner is cheating on you, you use a matrimonial inquiry service to investigate. Now, on the surface, from the outside, that sounds harmless. But campaigners warn that this can be used as a mask, if you like, a disguise. It can be misused to track and harass people fleeing dangerous relationships. In this case, Laura's ex-husband paid about £4,000 to a company called PID Global Limited. On the website of PID Global, it showcased investigators from a military background, people formerly in the armed forces, military background. They were offering covert surveillance, secret watching, and claiming on the website they've never been detected while on the job. So covert is secret, not open. Surveillance, this is the close observation of a person or a group, and a military background, experience working in the army or the armed forces. The lead investigator of this company called such routine checks the bread and butter of their work. That's an idiom, meaning the basic tasks that make up most of what they do. We say, that's my bread and butter. That's how I make money, or most of my money. The agency's chief investigator, let's call him Robert, I think he was called Robert in the article, said his company tries to vet clients, to weed out those with bad intentions. So to vet someone is to carefully check someone's background. But Robert admitted that without access to criminal records, his checks are far from perfect. Not completely effective, I suppose, is the best way of describing that. Far from perfect. Robert said some clients start with innocent questions, but then get addicted to knowing what's going on. They become obsessed. He says that if that happens, he will cut them off, stop providing services. He will cut them off. It's a phrasal verb. Yet, because these private investigators can't check detailed criminal histories, even of clients with court orders, people under legal restrictions can still hire investigators and carry on their harassment through others. To carry on is to continue doing something. So these people, even if they have court orders, they can carry on this harassment using these companies. There's another chilling example given, a woman who fled to a domestic violence refuge. She was found by an investigator from a company who claimed it could locate anyone for £30. And this makes you realize, it brings home how easily even supposedly safe sanctuaries, like a domestic violence refuge, even how they can be uncovered, how they can be found. Then there's a tactic called blagging. Blagging is illegally obtaining private information by pretending to be someone else. You'll hear people say, I blagged my way into the property or whatever. Blagging. Although not confirmed in every case, a survey showed that about 25% of private investigators admitted to using blagging or social engineering, manipulating people into revealing confidential information So 25% of these private investigators admitted to this at least once a month, this blagging. Both of these tactics are serious privacy violations and often illegal. So once again, blagging is tricking someone into giving private information. Social engineering is all about manipulation, manipulating people to disclose personal data. Back in 2013, the UK government promised a licensing system to require training and criminality checks for private investigators. More than a decade later, the system still hasn't been created. It hasn't been put into place. It doesn't exist. And despite hundreds of cases discovered through careful research, including court records and charity reports, no private investigator has been prosecuted, officially charged with a crime, prosecuted, for their role in stalking cases. A judge even described these investigators as a proxy acting as the agent of the stalker. A proxy is someone who acts on behalf of someone else. This highlights how these investigators are essentially hired tools of abuse. Some stories show how this practice can lead to tragedy. One man wrongly believed his wife was cheating. He hired investigators and he later killed her and himself. In another case, investigators attached a GPS tracker, a device that shows where a person or object is located. The investigators attached the GPS tracker to a woman's car. The information was handed to her ex, whose friends later attacked her son with acid. None of these investigators ever faced legal consequences. Laura asked a profound question. If it's unacceptable for someone to follow you themselves, why is it somehow acceptable when they pay someone else to do it? She described the practice as inhumane, lacking compassion, cruel, inhumane, another form of abuse that targets women's safety and dignity. I'll give you a quick summary of the key vocabulary, the phrasal verbs, the idioms, with examples from this episode. A private investigator, a PI, is a person hired to investigate. Laura's ex-husband hired a PI to secretly watch her. Surveillance is secretly observing. This PI took surveillance photos without Laura knowing. A refuge is a safe house. The PI tracked the woman, even to her refuge. Blagging is illegally getting private information. Some PIs admitted to using blagging techniques. When we talk about covert, this is hidden or secret. The agencies offer covert surveillance packages. And violated, this is a feeling that your privacy was broken. Laura felt violated when she saw the photos in court. Some of the phrasal verbs: to trail is to secretly follow. The PI trailed Laura several times. To hire is to pay for someone's services. Her ex hired a private investigator, for example. To put yourself out is to present or advertise yourself. Some investigators put themselves out as experts with no checks, no background checks, nothing. To get addicted to something is to become obsessed. Some clients of these private investigation firms, they got addicted to knowing what's going on. To carry on is to continue. Even under court orders, they can carry on these practices through PIs, through private investigators. When we say cut them off, this means stop supporting them. The investigator said he would cut them off if obsessed. A few idioms and expressions from the episode. Bread and butter, when you say that was my bread and butter or that is my bread and butter, it just means the main part of someone's work. For example, matrimonial cases are the bread and butter of their work. Blown open, revealed widely. The true extent of outsourcing abuse was blown open by this investigation. And Laura described finding out about the surveillance as like an out-of-body experience. An out-of-body experience is a feeling of being disconnected from reality. And that's this episode. Thank you for listening. This is Listen. Please share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, bye-bye for now.